Ever feel like you're working hard, but your bank account is playing a joke on you? Do you ever wonder why a tiny bag of grapes costs more than a whole meal used to? Or why some countries are swimming in cash, while others can't seem to catch a break? In this video, I'm going to break down how the world of economics really works. No boring textbooks, just the straight-up truth, mate to mate. If you come across a word or concept you're not sure about, or that sparks your curiosity, just drop a comment below. I genuinely follow up on your questions, so don't be shy. Your questions actually shape what I talk about here. Normal human needs. All right, let's start with the big one. You're a human, right? That means you want stuff. You want a roof over your head, some decent food, and, let's be real, a TV that's just a little bit bigger than the one your cousin bought last month. But here's the catch. There isn't enough stuff to go around. There aren't enough houses, enough steak dinners, or enough giant TVs for everyone on the planet to have whatever they want, whenever they want it. That's called scarcity. Think about it like this. If pizza fell from the sky like rain and was infinite, we wouldn't need economics. But because pizza costs money and takes time to make, we have to make choices. Every time you pick one thing, you're giving up something else. Like, by hanging out here with me, you're giving up the chance to watch a video of a cat falling off a fridge. That lost cat video? That's your opportunity cost. It's the price of your choice. Why do people trade? Since we can't have it all, we trade. Imagine you've got 10 apples, but you're dying for a banana. Your neighbor has 5 bananas, but is sick of eating them. You swap. Now you both have a snack you actually like. That's a win-win. Now, you might think, what if I'm bad at making everything? Here's the cool part. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be the least bad at something. This is called comparative advantage. Even if your neighbor is a better farmer than you in every way, it still makes sense for you to focus on the one thing you suck at the least, so you can trade with them. It's how the whole world stays useful. You just invented a market. When you take all those trades and throw them into one big pot, you get a market. It doesn't matter if it's a fancy stock exchange or your buddy selling you a used couch on Facebook. It's all a market. The heartbeat of any market is incentives. People do things when there's a reason to. If a pizza costs $100, you're probably cooking at home. If it's $1, you're buying 7. This tug-of-war between what you want to pay, demand, and what the shop wants to charge, supply, creates a sweet spot price called equilibrium. When things get weird, like when a government steps in and forces a price to stay low, it usually backfires. It's like trying to ignore the laws of gravity. Eventually, something is going to fall and break. I'm not surprised if you're still watching this video. This is one of the best videos I have ever made about economics. Stay tuned to learn more about this topic. You might even want to share the link with a friend, since heaps of people don't know about the things you're discovering today. Money is just a medium of exchange. Trading an apple for a banana is easy. But trading a goat for a month of Wi-Fi is a nightmare. That's why we invented money. Money is basically the lube for the gears of trade. It's a way to store value so you can save up for that bigger TV later. Then we have banks. They aren't just big buildings with vaults, they're middlemen. You give them your extra cash, they lend it to someone who wants to buy a car, and they charge interest for the trouble. All of this happens without a boss telling everyone what to do. It's what famous economists call the invisible hand. It's just millions of people making choices that somehow end up getting shoes on your feet and bread on your table. This is called a supply chain. Let's look at your breakfast. If you're eating avocado toast, think about the journey it took. Someone grew the avocado, someone baked the bread, and someone else drove a truck to get it to your cafe. This is the supply chain. It relies on three things: land, the farm; labor, the workers; and capital, the tractors and ovens. How fast they can turn those things into toast is called productivity. This is the secret sauce. High productivity is why some countries are rich. They're just better at making more stuff with less effort. How do we measure it? How do we know if a country is doing well? We use GDP, or Gross Domestic Product. It's basically the total receipt for everything a country made in a year. But GDP isn't perfect. It doesn't care if you're happy or if the air is clean. It just counts the cash. If a country grows by cutting down every tree they own, the GDP goes up, but the country is kind of worse off, right? It's a useful tool, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Kind of like a microwave with no door. It works, but you've got to be careful with it. Sometimes the economy grows. Economy isn't a straight line, it's a wave. When things are great, it's a boom. When things suck and people stop buying stuff, it's a recession. If it gets really ugly for a long time, that's a depression. One thing that ruins the party is inflation. That's when there's too much money chasing too little stuff, so prices go up. Imagine everyone in town suddenly found $1,000 on the sidewalk. Everyone would run to the store to buy the same 3 TVs. The store owner sees the crowd and raises the price. Now your $1,000 doesn't buy as much as it used to. Money isn't just cash. So who's in charge of the money? Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the US. They have 2 main jobs: controlling how much money is out there and setting interest rates. Think of interest rates like a thermostat for the economy. If things are too hot and prices are rising too fast, they turn up the rates to make borrowing expensive, which cools things down. If the economy is cold and no one is spending, they drop the rates to make money cheap and get people moving again. This is called monetary policy. Taxes are mandatory payments. We all hate paying them, but taxes are how we pay for the stuff nobody would buy on their own, like roads, schools, and the military. There are tons of ways the government takes a slice of your pie. There's income tax on your paycheck, sales tax on your shoes, and even excise taxes on things like booze or cigarettes. When the government spends more than it makes from these taxes, they run a budget deficit and have to borrow money. That total pile of borrowed money is the national debt. Let's say you live in a country. No country can make everything. Brazil is great at coffee. Canada is great at corn. So they swap. This is international trade. Trade happens in different currencies, and the exchange rate tells you how much your money is worth in another country. Trade makes things cheaper for everyone and gives us more variety, but it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes trade means a factory in your hometown closes because it's cheaper to make things somewhere else. This is why you hear politicians talking about protectionism or tariffs to protect local industries. Jobs are just a market. You wake up, you go to work, you get paid. That's labor economics. Jobs are just a market where the product being sold is your time. If businesses want more workers than are available, your wages go up. If everyone is looking for the same job, wages go down. Sometimes people lose jobs because the economy is in a recession, cyclical, or because their skills aren't needed anymore, structural. Minimum wage helps people at the bottom, but if it's set too high, some businesses might just replace workers with touchscreens. That's finance. So you've earned some money. Now what? You can hide it under your mattress, or you can try to make money from your money. That's finance. You can buy stocks, owning a slice of a company, bonds, lending money to a company or government, or even crypto, digital coins. The basic rule is the risk-return trade-off. If you want a chance at a huge payout, you have to be willing to lose it all. That's why you should diversify and not put all your eggs in one meme stock basket. That's development economics. Why are some countries rich while others are stuck? It's not just about hard work. History, geography, and institutions, like having a fair court system, matter a lot. Poor countries often get stuck in a trap. They're too poor to save, so they can't invest in factories, so they stay poor. Getting out of that trap usually requires better education, stable politics, and good roads, rather than just handing out cash. Enter behavioral economics. Traditional economics assumes we are rational robots, but we aren't. We're messy humans. We suffer from loss aversion, which means losing $20 hurts way more than finding $20 feels good. We also anchor. If I show you a phone for $1,000 and then tell you it's on sale for $800, you think it's a steal, even if it's still overpriced. We're also suckers for sunk costs. Have you ever sat through a terrible movie just because you already paid for the ticket? That's bad economics. The money is gone. You might as well save your time. And that brings us to mixed economies. At the end of the day, every country has to decide how to run things. Capitalism is all about private owners and profit. It's great for innovation, but it can be really unequal. Socialism and communism focus on sharing everything, but that can sometimes kill the motivation to work hard. Most of the world today uses a mixed economy. Even the US has government-run schools and Social Security. Every system is just a different way of answering the same questions. What do we make? How do we make it? And who gets it? No one has the perfect answer yet. So, that's the economic world in a nutshell. Scarcity is real, your choices have a cost, and money is just a tool to help us trade. This was a lot to cover, and it took considerable effort to simplify it all. If you feel like you learned something today, would you like me to dive deeper into one specific area, like how the stock market works, or how inflation affects your savings, or any other related topic? Write me a comment and I'll start working on it.